Hello and welcome. My name is Jennifer Fable of livelifeunbroken.com. Today I want to talk to you about symbols and sigils. So what are they? Why would you want to know about them, and how can you begin to use them to create some really important and exciting change in your life? Symbols are the language of your unconscious mind, and they are the best and easiest way to activate your reticular activating system, which you'll recall is the sentinel, the gatekeeper that allows different information into your awareness. And don't you worry, we're going to review this in just a moment. Symbols also allow you to encode a large amount of information and data into a really nice, pretty, and succinct package, which makes using symbols really convenient for creating change in your life. You'll remember that you have a conscious mind and you have an unconscious mind. Your conscious mind, you'll recall, is the part of you that's aware at any given moment. So, for example, right now you may be aware of the sound of my voice. You might be aware of the circle on the screen in front of you. And you might not necessarily be aware of the sensation of your feet, wherever they are, whether they're on the floor or tucked underneath you. Only now you're probably noticing your feet. So where was that information a moment ago? I mean, your feet have been there the whole time. Your body's been picking up the information and the data. The neurons are firing. It's just not really in your awareness until you tune into it, because most of the time the feeling of your feet isn't important. And so your conscious mind is anything you're aware of at any given moment, and your unconscious mind is the part of you that's aware and filtering information the rest of the time. Now, you'll also remember that your conscious mind and your unconscious mind have very different ways of operating. If you're into computers or circuitry, your conscious mind is more like a serial processor, whereas your unconscious mind is like a parallel processor. Now, your conscious mind is very logical, it's very linear, it's associated with the newer parts of the brain, and so it likes things to make sense and it loves to ask the question why. Your conscious mind believes that if you just focus your mental energy hard enough and figure out why, everything else will fall into place. Now, your unconscious mind, it's associated with the older parts of the brain, the more reptilian parts like the limbic system. And so it evolved long before language came into play, which means it has a communication system that is symbolic. Your unconscious mind is emotional. It uses emotions, energy in motion, to move information within itself, and it thinks in pictures. You'll also remember that there are 4 realms for healing, and that each of these realms specifically connects to a certain aspect of us, be it our conscious mind, our unconscious mind, or our higher self, which of course is the outlet that we need to plug into and move through in order to connect with the energy around us. And since as above, so below, as without, so within, we can create change in each of the different realms by creating change in us. And that's where this begins to get really fun and exciting. So here's how this works. You use your mental realm, your conscious mind, your thinking self to come up with an intention, to come up with a goal, to come up with something you want to change. And you start to send that information via your thoughts out into the energy around you. Now, that energy of your thoughts is picked up and taken to where it needs to go through your higher self, which then figures out how to help you and sends the information back. But see, here's the problem. Your mental realm, thinking self, conscious mind, is really only processing about 134 bits at a time. And so it can't quite pick up all that data coming in from the spiritual realm. It just can't. It needs some help. And so it takes that information and it sends it through to your unconscious mind. Your unconscious mind is the part of you that's picking up that 20 million bits of information. And so it is easily able to pick up information from the spiritual realm. And so it takes that information and it sorts through it and weeds out anything it doesn't think you're going to be interested in. So it goes through your reticular activating system. And then anything that's important, that gets sent up into your conscious awareness. The problem is your unconscious mind is also where we store all the stuff we don't like about ourselves, all the traumas, all the stuff we don't want to deal with, and all of our limiting beliefs. And so when that information comes down from the spiritual realm through your unconscious mind, if you haven't worked on the emotional realm, if you haven't built a solid bridge, then that information from the universe is going to be filtered through your fears your limiting beliefs, and your traumas, which means the information that's coming up into your awareness is a garbled version of what the universe wants you to know. This is why working on all four realms is critical for health, well being, and change. Now, you'll notice when the unconscious mind communicates up to the conscious mind, how does it do that? I mean, your conscious mind uses language, but your unconscious mind doesn't. And so, in order to get your conscious mind's attention, your unconscious mind will move energy in the body. And since energy in motion is emotion, that means that the language of your unconscious mind is emotions and symbols. And so, that information from the universe comes up into your awareness via emotions. So if it's being filtered through fear, then it's going to create a sensation of fear. If it's being filtered through opportunity and choice, then it's going to create feelings of opportunity and choice. And so knowing how to use that language, how to speak your unconscious mind language, is akin to learning to speak the language of the universe. And that's how we come to symbols. Now, let me back up for one more quick moment. I want to just go over really quickly the difference between esoteric information and exoteric information, because from this point forward, we're going to be getting into the esoteric realm. Now, esoteric information is information that is passed down from person to person. It requires you to have a mentor and be properly prepared. This helps weed out the tire kickers, so to speak. Esoteric information is encoded and hidden in plain sight as long as you know where to look. And its focus is on how can I be the best I can possibly be right now. Now, exoteric information, this is the information that is handed down through the masses. It is taught. And it believes that there is a right and a wrong way to do things. And so it teaches the right way so that you'll follow it and the wrong way so that you'll avoid it. The goal of exoteric traditions is salvation because it is sacrificial. It believes that you need to sacrifice and give up things in the present moment for the promise of glory and rewards later on. Now, what I love about symbols is that they are universal. They are found and encoded in both esoteric and exoteric traditions. And so the information in this series is going to be focusing on the esoteric so that you can learn how to be the best now. And of course, you'll remember that when it comes to any kind of energy work, any kind of growth, any kind of change, all you really have to do is follow the 3 I's. Use your mental realm, conscious mind self to set an intention. Activate it with emotion using your imagination, and then allow your intuition to be the guide. And so working with symbols is all about the emotional realm, your unconscious mind, and activating your imagination. Now, for those of you who are new to playing with your imagination, you may find that in the beginning you don't get a lot of visuals, and that's totally okay. If I were to say to you, imagine a rose, you might imagine seeing a rose. You might imagine the smell of a rose or the feel of its petals or thorns. You might imagine the song, The Rose by Bette Midler. All of those would be perfect imaginings of a rose. And over time, you can build each of the senses until you have a full sensory picture that you can work with. And remember that this is a learned process. So give yourself permission to be a little bit bad at it in the beginning, knowing that every time you activate your imagination, you activate your RAS and you begin to change everything. So I mentioned earlier that symbols are the language of your unconscious mind. Remember that your conscious mind uses language, which is a very one-dimensional flat thing. For example, if I were to say the word love to 20 different people, I promise you I'd get 20 different interpretations of love. For some, love means safety. For others, it means disappointment. Depending on your experience and your filters, your interpretation of a conscious mind concept, like a word, is going to vary depending on a lot of different variables. Symbols, on the other hand, can encode a lot of information in a tiny little packet that is universal. For example, if I were to show you a heart, no matter what language you spoke, no matter where you are in the world, you would know exactly what the heart symbol means. As an example, the symbol that you see here is a dalet. It is the fourth letter of the Hebrew alphabet, and it is the equivalent to the letter D in the English language. It also represents the number 4 in the Hebrew language, and is also symbolic of a doorway and can be used to convey the message of moving between realms, between your unconscious and conscious mind. There are books and videos written just on this one symbol alone, And so symbols can encode a lot of information quickly and easily. It's why when we're driving, we use different shapes and colors and symbols to get us to stop, to go, to yield. It is faster and easier to activate your unconscious mind because by the time your conscious mind thinks about it, you've probably blown through the stop sign. Now, a sigil is just an encoded symbol that is specifically used for growth, change, healing, manifestation, or magic, as I like to call it, which really is just the use of your conscious mind to create change. And each sigil is unique for the intention that it is designed. And don't worry, I'm going to teach you exactly how to create your own sigil. So, of course, the first step in any kind of growth is to set your intention, to use your conscious mind, mental realm self to come up with what you want. Now, when it comes to creating your intention, you want to be very specific with the language. You want to make sure that you're writing it as if you already have it. So instead of saying something like, I will get better at golf, I would write, I am great at golf and easily hit my shots. You also want to avoid any words like don't, not, can't, won't, because your unconscious mind is incapable of processing a negative word. I mean, if I said to you, don't imagine a blue tree, what just happened? Blue tree, right? And so we want to make sure when we're writing our intention, we're writing what we want versus what we don't want. So once you come up with your intention, the next step is to remove all of the vowels in that intention. And then once you've done that, remove any duplicate until you are left with a string of unique consonants. And here's what I mean. So let's say your intention is, I am successful, prosperous, and enjoy the riches of life. Once I've decided on that intention, I'm going to go ahead and remove all the vowels. And then in step 3, I'm going to remove any duplicate consonants so that I have a unique string of letters. Are you with me so far? Great. And the next step is the part that activates your imagination and allows you to have a little bit of fun with the process. There are many ways to create sigils, and these two are my favorite. One because it's super creative, and one because it's super cool. Once you have your unique string of consonants, you can either take them and design them into a little graphic. You can see here that these are the graphic symbols for I'm changing for the better, things will get better, I will bring happiness to those around me. And if you look carefully within these little pictures, you can actually see how the letters are outlined. Now, when it comes to using this method to creating a sigil, the great news is that it activates your imagination and gives you full reign to play. It doesn't matter how you do it. You can do script, capital letters, lowercase letters. You can turn them sideways. You can flip them upside down, backwards, make them big, make them small. Literally, your imagination is the only limit that is set when it comes to creating sigils in this way. So follow your intuition, and I'm sure you'll come up with something great. Or if you're like me and being artistic is not really your forte, you can use a sigil wheel. And these are easily found online, and you just download them or you can create one yourself. And once you have it, you put a circle or a little dot at the starting letter from your string of consonants, and then you one by one connect the chain until you have a unique design. And then wherever you end, you can put a little line. Now, once you have your sigil, once you have your symbol that has been encoded with the intention that you set, you can now use the sigil in whatever way you want. Some people like to take a non-toxic marker and draw it on their body. Other people like to print it out and carry it with them or put it under their pillow. It all depends on your intention. If you have created a sigil for beauty and health, you might do well to put it in your makeup or on your mirror. If you have created a sigil for easy sleep, you might want to have it under your pillow. If you've created one for health and well-being and energy, you can put it inside your shoe. Ladies, you can tuck it in your bra. You can literally do anything. I like to carve mine into candles and then add a little bit of fire magic to it. Literally, your imagination is the only limit in this process. So however you want to use your sigil is perfect. You can burn it. You can bury it in the earth. You can release it into water. Just remember to follow your intuition and you'll be perfect. So some key concepts to remember. All learning, all behavior, all change has to happen at the unconscious level. If you attempt to use your thinky, conscious mind, mental realm self to change your life, it may eventually work, but you're working against your neurology and you're overriding your reticular activating system, which means you're going to be trying to put new behaviors through old strategies and filters, and we already know that that's a trap. Engaging your unconscious mind and utilizing its power, building that bridge through your emotional self, allows you to bring that energy down into the physical and really manifest growth and change quickly in your life. And remember that sigils allow you to encode whatever you want into a symbol that you can use in whatever way you need for your own personal growth. And as long as you follow the 3 I's, everything will always work out as it should. As always, decide you want it more than you're afraid of it. If you have been brought up in the exoteric traditions, following the esoteric philosophies might feel a little bit strange at first, and that's totally okay. Just decide you want it more than you're afraid of it, and everything will flow as it should. As always, thank you so much for joining me. And if you have any questions about this or any other information in this series, please feel free to reach out to me through my website at www.livelifeunbroken.com or via email or social media. Thank you again, and I'll see you next time.